Live. Off we go. All right, so let's get into it. Our IBM teammates are out this week with Think. So Michael Dawson and Giuseppe are not going to be able to make it. So any discussion around, hey, Aguirre, survey sort of owners is going to be slow going because they are the owners of those, or Giuseppe in particular is the owner of that. Michael Dawson just is everywhere helping everybody. So just to kick it off, I know we're working on a couple major initiatives. We're lining up the next enterprise group and enterprise group meeting, and we're lining up a in-person user feedback session in conjunction with the current release and as well as the surveys. Caitlin, thanks for joining us. Is there anything around Caitlin around the surveys that you are wanting to follow up on? Fortunately, without Giuseppe, I don't fully have the context, but I wanted to make sure we touch on that.
Yeah, so the 2019 Node user survey is on my radar right now, and I'm starting to do some planning for that. So I wanted to hop in here and kind of understand how our team typically works with this group to put that together and run it.
Perfect. Okay, so the user survey and user feedback have never really sort of come together and collaborated on that particular survey, right? The annual Node.js Foundation survey has been something that the marketing team has done independently, and hasn't sought too much feedback from community committee. As a board member, we definitely we're invited to review that content, but that's never really come out into the community. I'm happy to see that. I think that'd be great to have more community input and kind of the shared sense of, yay, we're all helping support this thing that we do every year. It'd be nice to have kind of a readout and some collaboration around there. And I'm happy to have user feedback participate in that, and I think that'd be a great opportunity to carry to the community committee as well.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great to me. And then do you typically need any support from the marketing team, the foundation marketing team, on the feedback surveys?
Then the feedback surveys are definitely areas that we've needed help on. Strange sort of blocker in that is often taking what's often technical questions and turning them into something that can be surveyed. That's one of the biggest challenges that we have been facing in surveys. We are not survey creators. We don't have the background in statistical relevance, and even at times the communication skills to necessarily craft those things out. So that is definitely when we're looking at delivering on a survey request, that's been a gap. The survey that we delivered in 2017, end of 2017, and followed up on at the beginning of 2018. We were able to lean on a contractor that the foundation provided, who really helped us, craft most of the questions and break things down. And then that was all put into SurveyMonkey. We requested that the foundation manage the SurveyMonkey, just because we were collecting user info. We were collecting email addresses and stuff like that, and we wanted a way to sort of protect the that data, and we chose to do that through foundation employees having that sort of obligation. So in the subsequent surveys, we haven't had access to someone who could help us with the crafting of the survey, and we have a couple of surveys now that have really sort of slowed to a halt in going back to the folks that have requested a survey and trying to get them to finish crafting all of the questions. It's dying on the vine there, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know exactly what our plan is for if we're going to bring a contractor back or not, but that's definitely something I can help work with you with to make sure you have the resources there. It's funny, actually, the kind of up-leveling the questions and survey methodology is a general theme across multiple projects I'm working on. So I'm hoping we'll have some internal resources for that later this year as well. Fantastic.
And, do you have a general timeline of when you think the survey will go live?
Yeah, so because we missed this past the past event in 2018, I'm hoping probably early Q2 this year is my goal.
Got it.
I am talking to a couple groups to get feedback about with the merger how we want to run this.
Right on.
I think my preference is that we continue the Node user survey as is, and then potentially add some more maybe JavaScript ecosystem surveys. But I will send that to this group for feedback if that sounds good to you.
Fantastic. In terms of timeline, we are anchoring on the April 23rd target release date. It's not set in stone. There may be some shifting based on last minute needs, but the Node.js release team is scheduling the first release of 12 so 12 starts into the current release. It's not the enterprise expected release cycle, but we have 6 months of sort of baking and release out into our current flow, and then in October we we'll usually take that into long-term support and stop active development on that code base. So if you wanted to target a moment in time, that's one that we're targeting, and that might line up, and that way we're doing activities when folks are already paying attention.
Yep, that sounds great. I think we can either, depending on how all the merger work goes, either at least target getting these survey questions out by that date.
Great. And that's something that, Ahmed, myself, and James Snell, we're all going to go out to meetups and stuff like that. So if we have that, that is a thing that we can encourage folks to go and complete. We can help, share
awesome.
that awareness.
That sounds great.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll keep the channels open, and no problem, Tracy. And drive towards completion on that. We've been managing expectations on surveys on our end that basically it's slow going, and we're not able to crank out surveys, and it'd be nice to evolve that, but I really do think it'll take backing of in partnership with the subject matter expert to really make that functional.
Yeah, and just to confirm on Tracy's question, all of the user survey stuff is run on the foundation side through SurveyMonkey and all of that.
Right on.
So I understand right now you are our link because before it used to be Greg Wallace. So Caitlin, can you be our link uh, for the foundation from the
Yes.
marketing point? Okay, that's great.
Fantastic. All right, let me dive into the agenda. To ha.
Yes, for some reason there is no agenda valid, so you might, yeah, you might want to take a look at the last six opened issues.
Right. Let me share
Or
what I'm seeing with
yeah, or
everybody.
I don't know if Ahmad has something on his agenda right now. So I do have something for you guys. So, but for Portland, valid only, and also if it's possible. So I just talked with some of the folks from Intel, and they're interested to give a demonstration about the accelerate networking. The DPDK tool, if you know about that tool. So if you guys, when you are going to be in Portland, if there is a spot that can be able to do a little demo.
Yeah, let's
We can talk about that. Yeah, of course. It's we're talking about May, right? So still we have plenty of time. So
we do.
But just to have it in mind. So the Intel folks, they are really interested in give a demo with the accelerate networking thing.
Got it. Yeah, let's coordinate with open source and see if we can't integrate that into the evening and at Node.pdx.
Yep, awesome.
Great. And on that, we are targeting, I believe, the second Thursday of May for that one.
Yes, that's right. I think we are talking about May 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Do we have an issue for that? Would you mind creating an issue for that, Miha?
Yes, not a problem. Yeah, so May 9, yeah, that's right.
Brilliant. Good stuff.
So I guess we're generating agendas on the fly, which is good. I got a couple of items.
Right. The agenda, the automated agenda picked up 0 items that were tagged with user feedback agenda. So a reminder about our tooling. If you tag them with user feedback agenda, they will automatically be picked up by the tooling. Ahmed, I see lots of great issues, and Tracy, I see lots of great issues. So thank you for being diligent and creating those things. And Ahmed, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a question that arose from the context of the next feedback group, enterprise feedback group meeting of, who are the members are, where is this documented? There was a repository that you created a while ago, enterprise advisory group. It's a valid question. We should list the enterprise members who are taking part in these dialogues. And I think it's an open question to where do we store that information and track it? Do we keep it under user feedback? Do we have it somewhere separate? If not, do we delete that additional repository or archive it?
So, starting from the end, I've had, deleting, sort of cleaning up the old repository as an action item for an embarrassing amount of time.
I will make an issue for you right now.
So, going forward, I think that is not the place for it necessarily. I would love to see this go into the the README homepage. That way we're sort of investing in a single focal point, and until we get to the point where we're really stumbling over each other with activity and too many people, I think it's better to keep our activities closely aligned and closely associated. So I would just pick a place on the README that seems appropriate, and begin adding folks there. And that's a great way to ensure continued investment. Once you have folks visibly committed, then that always goes a long way.
All right, I've made an issue for you and for deleting the repository because I don't have access.
Good.
I'll make an issue for myself to put something in the README as a pull request.
Great. And I think when we're going in and cleaning that stuff up, we're going to have to take care of some of our original sort of founding crew and move them into Emeritus. Mike Hostler and Kapke in particular, haven't been around for a while. Fantastic. Any other enterprise or Toronto?
Yes. So let me finish the enterprise context
Please.
first, and then come back to the Toronto one. We said we're going to set up the suggested date around the 25th. I guess based on the conversation just now, we can leverage the newsletter. We can leverage the survey communication so that we're not spamming all of our users. The one thing that was still kind of questioning is, do we tie it in with local meetups or not? So as we're now working with these meetup groups, if we do have a unified communication that goes out about the meetup group / the April 25th date, who's going to help kind of draft that content, and where is that going to go? So that we can take that context of how, when we update the README with the members of the enterprise group and add call to action around them. There's also a topic around creating a blog post for it. So should we schedule a blog post before or after or at the same time for talking about the enterprise feedback group? It's a question of timing is what I'm asking, and where is it appropriate to coordinate versus let's just keep going on things with the enterprise and separate the context from each other.
So it's always best to sort of start generating awareness beforehand. We're paying attention to these dates. We're thinking about this, but no one else in the universe knows about these things besides us, and we want them to join us in whatever we're proposing. They need to be aware of it. I would definitely advocate for a blog post beforehand, and tour dates. Tracy or Sophia, is that something that you all would be interested or able to help us coordinate?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think a reasonable timeline of sort of building up awareness would be for that? For
like the tour?
For the blog post. So Akma's question is how are we building up awareness of those events? We schedule those out. What are the activities we should be scheduling?
We already have. So I'll work with. Okay, so we already have 2 blog posts that have been kind of going into editorial mode.
Right on.
We actually have 2 I shared them initially, and then we kind of needed to go through editing and stuff like that. But I can aim to have, let me see, I believe it's also on an issue in GitHub where we go. Let's see. So we have guidelines for meetups to host user feedback sessions, and then guidelines for speakers to host Node meetups in real life. So let's aim for that to be published. Let's see, published by, we can have that probably published by next Friday. So this is guidelines and speakers, guidelines for meetups and speakers. And the other thing about it is We also have another one kind of announcing, like just calling all meetups to add their meetup to the get involved on the Node site. So hopefully that like surfaces more meetups. In addition to that, we actually, Sophie did most of this work. She did a lot of work around reaching out to the different meetups that we were aware of and saying like, hey, do you want to speak at, or like, do you want to host a user feedback session? So give me 1 second. Sophie, what is the name of that? Oh, I found it. Okay. So I can just give you the numbers really quickly. Let me just pull up the spreadsheet really quickly. I believe we have 6 people that have already said yes.
Hold
on, let me just double check.
The Toronto crew also came back, said yes, they're willing to host.
So we did like, we reached out to like 20 meetup groups around the US and greater. And we had 6 responses that said yes. Give me 1 second. And so it was the London Node.js user group, the NYC Node user group, Node.js Madrid, Node Sao Paulo, Node Melbourne, Kiev Node, and then Node Hamburg. So all those people are also ready to, you know, like basically be a part of this, and they're just waiting for instructions on, okay, what do I do next? So that'll be like the next step will be just be basically giving them this, giving them these like sort of like instructions on how to do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
so go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, I was just gonna ask, who specifically should we be like? I think I might have like forwarded some of those to you, Dan, maybe. But I mean, you know, we work across so many people. I'm like, okay, this is seeming very random to me. So who should we like? Who's going to own making sure that like all the meetups are good? Like, do you want us to own it? Do one of you guys want to own it?
What's good?
Well, I don't know what's good.
So, you know, trying to sort of eke out a definition of good, I would say, you know, understanding, having an understanding of what to present and what to do. That's kind of step 0. And then
that type of stuff is totally fine. Like, I wonder if it's like, okay, hey, we can give them like this blog post / guidelines, right? Hey, this is what you're supposed to do at this meetup. But at the same time, you know, we probably want some sort of something like a
box in the box.
Well, I mean, more like a like should we have like a meeting or something like that? Or should they be like, hey, you know, I can contact Dan as like the point of contact to get advice over something. I know, no Dan. But like, maybe that way.
You could try.
Yeah. But like that's kind of a thing, right? It's like we want somebody to be like the guiding post. I mean, Ahmed, you're going to be doing it at Toronto, so maybe we should be like, okay, hey, here's your.
Yeah, I think we should err on whoever the local representative would be.
Well, I mean, they're going to be doing it, right? Like they're going to be the ones that are like, so basically, like, you know, Eric from Sao Paulo, for example, he's like, hey, I'm ready to host this user feedback session. I'm excited about it. Okay, you gave me all the instructions. Okay, cool. But I want to be able to tell Eric, like, hey, Eric, here's Ahmed. So if you have any additional questions on how this has gone before, right, you know, you can message him anytime. Or they can message me too, but I just want it to go like as smoothly as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, I get it. This goes back to a topic we talked about a few weeks ago. Do we have a Slack channel of some sort where we can have folks talk to each other?
Right.
And it's not just having the one point of contact. It's just having the collective talk to each other, because then they can help each other too, right?
Yeah, so maybe it's a form of I I don't know if it's in the form of a GitHub issue though. I mean, I'm thinking about how other communities do it. I mean, Angular has the Angular community Slack, but it's like those types of things don't work unless, they're like managed well and run well by somebody.
You need anchor individuals who are going to be present and really be able to drive that attention. And what I'm saying, I think the subtext that Ahmed is saying is like, like the level that we're already committed is a lot. And, we love it and we do it because we're passionate and we care.
Okay. So here's a good, I know. So like maybe what we do is we do the first few and we're like, okay, there's going to be no, they can obviously contact us, right? Like I can be a contact, right? But then of the people who are really excited about this, like the Kiev guy is really excited about it. I mean, I think everybody in general is really excited about it, but like Kiev or like Sao Paulo, I know those two are like pretty, excited people. And so if they're excited about it, then I could be like, hey, do you want to be like this ambassador? And Aguirre would also probably be a good one. Aguirre, I
was going to say something about that. I've not been very much actively involved, but recently I've been coming back because of health issues. But I think I can do that. Or like a central point of information. If you have any questions about this, about that, I can help do that.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, like you can basically act as kind of like the ambassador in a sense. And I'm super curious. Like, where's your can you send me the link to your Node, because you have a Node meetup too, right? I just think it didn't make it on the initial list that we created.
Yeah, Node.js Africa GitHub is there and the link is still there. Then my email too. Okay.
Node.js Africa, yeah.
So I like the idea of an ambassador. It's great if Gary you can commit to it, or anybody else who can commit to it in rotations perhaps. We can also just make sure that we have like a check-in or a meeting or a hangout with the folks who have organized meetups and just collect that feedback so you can update the guidelines, update the kind of write-up template for sharing that knowledge.
Yeah, most probably like having a good guideline for whosoever is going to be the ambassador. So he knows or she knows, okay, what kind of information am I giving out? What kind of information do I have? Makes it easier to do the job rather than trying to, I need to ask Tracy about this, or I need to ask Disha about this before getting back to you.
Well,
and it just occurred to me, the guideline, sorry, go ahead, Tracy.
Like, I think it's just going to be like, they're going to have guidelines, but they're going to be like, wait, so I do, they just like want a confirmation.
Sure.
And it's not much, it's more like be the safety blanket. We should actually not call it ambassador. We'll call it safety blanket.
It just occurred to me, in order to make sure that we keep that kind of guidelines like updated in the live, we can make it a blog post, but we should put it in a GitHub somewhere so that those individuals can go back and edit and make the pull requests.
Right.
Yeah, like more of an MD file. Right.
So,
and we should link to that in the blog post, right? So so it can stay evergreen. That's really.
So here's the problem with the blog post. So we've created a few blog posts now, but I'm having a very hard time getting your guys' feedback or any level of consensus around whether the blog posts are okay or not.
Right.
So like, what do we do?
So the easiest way, unfortunately, to sort of get my time is during my scheduled time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to leverage this time to do those sorts of things. I am really struggling right now with all the other things that I have going on to be able to find out of these sort of allocated times. Time.
So it sounds like maybe we're okay with like, hey, okay, we're like 70-80% there, right? Like it's not going to be exactly where we want it to be. And then one thing we could actually do is utilize the people who are actually going to be giving these things at the meetups and be like, hey, can you help improve? And then like it could be that living document. But y'all are just
I will call out, however, that in pulling in James, James is kind of in the same situation where he doesn't have a lot of extra time to be able to lean on, and in drawing him in to help with the meetup content, I'm being very conscientious not to overburden him with additional responsibilities.
Okay. Wait, which James?
Snell.
Okay. I thought it was.
Sorry.
All right. Well, I think we should just, I think we should probably, I'll send around the document anyways. Like, for example, there's an issue still for the enterprise user feedback, right? Where I was like, okay, we said we wanted to do this. We said we want to launch it by February. Okay, we have no idea. Like, I can't even remember what we talked about in December of what on earth this was supposed to accomplish. So I kind of, if you look at the GitHub issue, I was like, okay, hey, let me ask these 3 questions. But nobody has responded, and that's completely fine. But I'm just,
Why don't we take care of that, Tracy? Let's dive in. No, seriously, let's dive in and take care of that. I personally apologize for my lack of availability,
don't stress.
and I want to be respectful of the work that you're doing, and figure out a way to make sure that we carve out the time to help you. Yeah, help Lynn, all that.
It's really not a big deal. I mean, I promise you. So this was the one that Ahmed actually created. It's issue number 123. I can post it. And it was just what's the goal? So what is it? Who's it for? Intended audience, primary message, and then the summary of the project.
So I'm taking that away as drafting some content there so we can further draft the message as well. And
yeah, I think we were like, oh, hey, let's do it. And we kind of had this conversation about it, but we never really laid it out.
Yeah. So, and equally, this is 100% on me on actually trying to draft that in. I've had a unpredictable,
no stress. Everyone's busy.
Schedule. Yes. But that's you provided me that plate. Now that's much easier for me to actually go in and start drafting things in, and we can do that the asynchronous way on the issue itself until we have the basic ready, and then we can go into an actual draft mode of something that's beyond just the outline.
Yeah, that's great. And then we'll publish it on.
So the question is, where would we go next, or am I jumping ahead?
Where would we go next in terms of what?
Like, do we take this outline and start drafting stuff on medium.com or some Word document or something? Or
I think you should just comment on it and just add it in there,
Okay. So what this becomes the draft itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
This becomes like the guideline to drafting the draft, and then we'll start drafting it.
All right. Sounds good.
And, just to sort of connect the dot there, or at least validate or invalidate. Once Ahmed fills in those blanks, Tracy, are you going to take that and turn that into a blog post?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all you need to do, Ahmed, is fill out that outline, and then Tracy will produce a draft, and then we'll sign off on it.
Okay, that's good to know, because I had made the assumption that I'm going to start the draft itself. So hence why I was a little bit more daunting and taking time. That's good. That's good.
Okay. And then another thing is, obviously, Dan, I love the idea of spending this time to do things like the, reviewing, but in my experience, reviewing one article takes 15, 20 minutes. So sure. Is it the best use of our time to spend, half a meeting reviewing an article in the future?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Yes, because otherwise, I really worry about us not completing those activities. And we've identified in the past year that the biggest gap that we have is making sure that we're communicating to the rest of the world and the community, what our activities are. So we want to do that. You have graciously agreed to help us do that. And I have been struggling to give you the amount of time and to really close the loop on that. So let's use the time that we have. And if folks are like, yeah, this sucks, I need to drop, folks are free to drop.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. Okay. I totally feel you guys, by the way. It's so terrible sometimes. I tell people I live my life in half-hour increments because I just go from meeting to meeting. Okay, we're excited then. Yeah.
So in terms of timeline, do we see, so working back from April 25th, do we want to just give ourselves 30 days? Published by March 25th?
For the enterprise one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but what's the April? I thought the April 25th date was for the user feedback sessions.
Yes. Yes, and April 23rd is the release date for Current. And on April 25th, not necessarily in conjunction with Current, though a lot of the topics that we will be talking about, it's less internal, external directed on the 25th. It's more an internal evaluation and an assessment. Right, it'll be topical to the discussions amongst the enterprise group that is happening, but it's not really as targeted as outreach as we're doing with the beginning of May meetup sessions. Does that make sense? Is that in line with what everyone expects?
So like 325 publishing done, and like Dan, you were just asking about like a kind of like timeline to promotion in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying like May-ish is the like user feedback in-person sessions. So we can say by, let's see, it's like, so like by 2/22, we have the user feedback session blog post, or no, user feedback session, blog post complete. Things that are already done is we've already we have something like 6 to 8 like meetups confirmed to do the sessions. I actually don't think we need it anymore because I think we'll organically get a few more.
Sure.
But I think we're good. What do you guys think?
For this iteration, yeah. Like, I honestly think that we, that this is already a stretch, right? That we're, we could be good with, our active user feedback team members doing this iteration, and we're off. As a stretch, I'm happy to, invite in any proactive meetup group organizers that are going to, be self-directed and be willing to, do their best and, deliver what they can and share the feedback along the way. And I'm really looking for a partner in San Francisco to make sure that we have a good recording of this. And in part, one of the reasons why I wanted to do that is first to have an asset that we can share, and second, to be able to retroactively look at the experience and distill down what worked, what didn't, and capture that.
So another question for this sort of like 425 deadline is, what would you like to see at that time? Like, what are the tangible things you want to see at that time? Or tangible results, I guess.
I think I'm confused on the dates.
Oh,
425.
didn't you say 425?
Yeah.
Or no? You did.
So 425 is the enterprise, the meeting of the enterprise focus group.
Oh, okay, got it. I thought. Sorry.
325 when we released the blog post.
Well, I thought that like I was taking like all this stuff happening in the beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May, to be like, okay, you guys are somehow like have accomplished some greater marketing goal of getting yourselves out there and doing all these things and whatever, but maybe that's not the case.
Cool. No, I think it's just a question of dates and timing where I'm slightly off alignment with you. So what I would characterize the dates as is May 15th, right? We've gone through and done San Francisco. We've gone through and done Portland. We've gone through and done the Toronto, and we've had other individuals from across the globe participating and sharing their feedback. So May 15th ish, mid-May. What does success look like there? So in this case, I would say one of the biggest success factors that I'm interested in conveying is that they're that this is kind of the current release season, right? It's the next big awareness around the next big release around Node, and folks are beginning to make their plan for version 12 adoption, right? So this is the initial steps of that. So awareness of the Node.js 12 release and expectations around that is the one of the main things that I'm interested in things.
Okay, and so I will put this timeline-ish thing on. I mean, okay, here's kind of the timeline I have right now. I don't know if that helps or not. And we should probably put this somewhere.
We're done.
Issue or something. But then another question is for this sort of like
would be great in the README.
In the README? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just so we're all, so folks, that are coming to user feedback, especially since we're inviting and engaging individuals from, outside of the active user feedback group, team members, having that in the first thing that they would come to would be great. Our schedule.
And then another question would also be for this hey, running user feedback sessions type deal. Do we want that in the get involved, or do we just want that like in the README and then like linking to another markdown file?
Yeah, I think that needs to be, the sort of playbook needs to be a separate document that we're managing and is linking off the README.
But so like not in the get involved, like not on the website under get involved. Because like right now we added, if you look at like Node.js right now, the website, let me see, Node get involved. Okay, so if you go to nodejs.org/English, maybe you don't even need to do /English, but like /get involved, get-involved. Here, I'll send you the link. We have things like Node.js events, Node.js speakers, right? And like Node.js meetups. Oh, this is weird. I don't know why we have two. Oh, because we have events. Okay, that's right. So we have the conferences, we have the meetups, and we have the speakers now.
Got it. Oh, cool. Nice.
Right. So like,
that's fun.
Do we want to also add this whole idea of user feedback sessions to this instead?
Let's add that when it's a thing.
Okay, sounds good. So right now we'll just add it as like a separate file, linking to Markdown, and then like adding it when it's a thing. So like maybe that should be
produce those resources and get some feedback around that, and align on that. And then once we've proved that those folks outside of this group and are able to do that, then at that point I'd love to see that level up and move into these resources and folks be able to do that autonomously. I don't know. So going back to our timeline, I don't know that okay. Actually, you have it captured here in the 6/15. In that June 15th timeline, I think that having those resources done is a reasonable expectation and reasonable timeline.
Yeah. I added 7/15 and 8/15 out of beta.
Nice.
And 15, add it to get involved when it becomes a thing. Okay.
Perfect.
This will be fun though. I think this is like a really good thing. I mean, we're obviously presenting it to the marketing committee. This is something we're pretty heavily involved in.
Great.
We're really excited about it. We think this is, I think this is gonna hopefully help shape how TSC decides which issues to work on, because that was the goal, right? The ultimate goal.
Yep.
So I'm excited.
Great. Yeah.
I have a quick point of clarification, just because we're running out of time. We said the 25th. Are we expecting all the meetups to do something on the 25th?
No, it's just like generally it's all. Wait, hold on. Sorry, which 25th? 325 or 425 or?
Do you see the chat?
No, I was specifically talking about like the general date of April 25th. We were just setting that as a general deadline, but not as any particular things needs to happen on that date itself.
No, our whole goal is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's in May we have people run these sessions.
Right. Okay.
So all of May we have people run these sessions.
All right. I just wanted to clarify because we're talking about like the 23rd is the current release date.
Yep.
And the just folks saying you might want to do something on the 17th. I'm like, well, maybe push it. Maybe do it around the 24th, 23rd, something like that. But there's nothing actually happening other than the date is 23rd for the release itself.
Yep.
Okay. That's fine.
Well, we're lined there.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Yay.
Okay. So awesome. And these meetup pages are amazing, Tracy. Love it.
Yeah, I love them. I know you guys should we're obviously promoting on the Node handle, but like you guys should go out and just tell everybody like add yourself, because why not? I added you, Dan, to some of them obviously, but I was just like, okay, what are the like random few people I can add that aren't going to get mad that I randomly added them?
Nice.
But some people have been submitting PRs to the meetup, so that's really great too. Not a lot of people have been submitting to the speakers thing, but again, we haven't really talked about it like that much on the internet.
Sure.
So, and the conference thing I think is a good list too. So.
No, right. That's super great to have that sort of centralized awareness.
Yeah.
And list of individuals as speakers. Nice. Oh, that's fun.
That way we can find, that way, like, especially if we're making user feedback a thing, it's like, okay, Kiev wants Node speakers. Who the heck is in Kiev? Kind of situation.
Brilliant. Very cool. Okay, well, thanks for the awareness. Does anyone have any closing thoughts or final concerns?
Yeah, I want to ask a question. The speakers on the Get Involved page and the speakers on Node.js Speaker Break, are they different programs entirely?
What? You mean the speakers on the
Speaker Break program, like
the
foundation song
program?
Yeah.
And
the speakers on these other webs on the Get Involved? Are they completely different? Are they two different
Yes,
programs?
they're completely different. Yeah. Speakers Bureau is a completely different thing. This is just like, I mean, I just helped facilitate it on behalf of the foundation, obviously, and like, you know, submitted a PR for us to start this list. But like in general, the speaker feedback, like the speakers list is just supposed to be like community driven. If you know speakers, other speakers can, you know, if people want more awareness of like who is a speaker in Node, they can just add themselves to the list, but it's completely separate from the Speakers Bureau. I mean, obviously, like if we need a speaker, maybe we might go to that list for the Speakers Bureau for people who aren't currently on the Speakers Bureau, but you can think of them as separate.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, that was useful. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, and see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.